as well. But I will try to make sure that as we engage, that we basically make this conversation happen in English, to make sure that those of you who do not feel confident maybe yet in terms of expressing yourself in English, then you can start having those practice as well today. I do have some slides with me today, but again, as I say, put in the chat, let me know what you're looking to study. So I'm sure some of you are looking to go into business programs, some are looking to go into engineering, some maybe medicine, some maybe political science. So put it in the chat and let me know exactly what you're looking to study. And while you do that, I'm going to share my screen. And I do have some slides that I've prepared for you today. So I've put my slide in such a way that you have as much information as you can possibly have, so that when it comes to you making your application and you planning ahead, you can really come back to this recording to basically watch it, pause, make notes, and actually, ask yourself, interrogate yourself as you write your application. Why am I looking to go and study at this university? Have I answered the question in terms of why I want to study this particular program at this particular institution? Why am I putting myself for this particular scholarship? I'll try not to talk so much about scholarship because we have experts in the room. And by expert, I mean students that have gone through, the path that some of you are looking to explore in terms of Chevening Scholarship. So I will leave those to Ishara, but I will also highlight some scholarship that we have available at Warwick, and also just guide you in terms of if you're considering other university, which again, I will encourage you all to do, so that you can make an informed decision when it comes to making a final decision about where you decide to go. Thank you very much, Mbamba. I can see you're looking to do agriculture and food security. Excellent. We also have Leah or La, who's looking to do agriculture and resource economic. We also have Ravel, who's looking to do business management. So there's more of you in the room, in the virtual room. So please put it in the chat and let me know what you're looking to study. And while you do that, I am going to share my screen. And I will encourage you again, while I'm sharing my screen, for basically to basically make sure, because I'm not going to be able to see your question, to make sure that you put it in the chat, any question that you may have, so that when it comes to us taking question, that Ishara and other helper today, Ambassador, Chevening Ambassador, can also flag those questions to me and I'll be happy to take them. So with that all said, my name is Caroline Rashingwa, a daughter of the DRC, but I tend to say daughter of the Africa continent. I've lived and traveled on the Africa continent. I've traveled to over 20 African countries, but also traveled to over 40 countries globally. And I'm one of those, I see myself as a leader that, aspire to work towards an Africa that is better led, better served, and better governed. So in all my, engagements, I try to bring Africa at the forefront to make sure that, basically I'm doing what I can within the realm of capability and capacity when it comes to my role. And in terms also representing my continent. So a little bit about myself. I know Ishara has already done a wonderful introduction. I'm also a student at Warwick University. I'm doing my master's in public policy. So some of you may be wondering, okay, what is public policy? Why public policy? And again, to sort of just highlight when it comes to public policy, I'm sure some of you sometimes wonder, why do bad ideas become policy? So those are things that I'm really basically exploring in terms of how do you make good policy decision? How do you evaluate policies to make sure that when it comes to future engagement with Africa, future leader like yourself, I'm able to be equipped with those information if I was to decide that I want to change my career trajectory and go into sort of policy work, that I can advise you either, I can advise either government or companies on matter of policy, whether it's international security, education, or international development, which is basically my area of expertise. And while we have all of you in the room, I can see there's few chats, there's few comments coming in the chat. I want you to tell me in the chat how many universities you think there is in the UK. Anyone? So yeah, please put in the chat how many universities you think we have in the UK, approximately. Okay, so the answer is basically roughly 164. And then I also want you to tell me what's the proportion of world leading research that basically Warwick University produce, or UK University produce. And then my last question is, when it comes to QS ranking, the top 5 cities to be a student, are you able to name them? So please put them in the chat, because as you exploring to come and study abroad, you really need to start making sure that you're reading wide and wide in terms of the breadth and the but you need to make sure that you're reading basically wide. So basically, in terms of the second question, UK basically has 1% of world population, but produce 7% of research, and of that, 14% are world leading research. So for those of you who are considering going to Bristol University, which Warwick University is one of, you'll be basically studying at a research-led institution. So being able to learn from some of the professors that write books that some of you read, and it's really humbling sometimes when you have professor teaching you and you're really basically reading the material as well, and it's really empowering. And then in terms of question 3. Basically, in terms of top city to be a student, there's Glasgow, there's Edinburgh, there's London, Manchester, and Coventry. So Warwick University is basically in the city of Coventry. And that really brings me into the next, basically what I want to talk about in terms of why Warwick. So in my engagement, I really want you to leave today. You have to have some information about what Warwick University is, what Warwick University can offer you in terms of opportunity, and basically to just basically share some more information in terms of how you can position yourself for global opportunities. So with that said, we'll basically in the first 10 minutes or 7 minutes now, we'll be talking about why Warwick. I'll also give you some admission tips, because I know for sure that some of you are exploring UK universities, some are looking at, French university, maybe some are potentially looking for Lusophone university in terms of, Portuguese speaking, and you're really looking at opportunity worldwide. So I'll give you some admission tips that could help you as you navigate those. And then also I'll share with you how do you choose. So there's so many universities around the world. So how do you choose? But how do you choose not only a university, but how do you choose a course? So I'll give you some few tips on that as well. And then, of course, funding. Some of you are looking to study abroad, but you're also looking for financial aid in terms of, some financial assistance to help you, with your pursuit of going to study abroad. So I'll give you some information on that and also just share again some few tips. And then I'll also share some information about accommodation at Warwick if you decide that you want to come and study at Warwick, and then also share some more tips in terms of career and skill development, and we'll have some time for question. I'll aim to do all of this in the next 40 minutes, so please do bear with me, and I hope you're ready, and I hope you have water or you have a drink next to you, a cup of tea. I do have my one next to me here, so I may pause for a minute to basically drink as we continue. But as we start, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Why do you want to study at university? Where do you want to study? What do you want to spend the next 1 year of your time? So some of you are looking to do your master's, but I'm sure there may be people in the room, or you may know people who are also exploring undergraduate program. So where do you want to basically spend your time studying the next 3 years, the next 4 years? Some of you probably exploring PhD. And if you're, exploring undergraduate program, what do I want to study when I go to university? So really take some time to critically ask yourself, why do I want to do the course that I want to do? Don't just pick a course because you feel like everyone in your neighborhood or in your country is doing a course, but think critically, by me doing this course, what am I looking to basically achieve? You can sort of look at, Africa Union Vision 20, basically Africa Union Vision 2064, and make your, sort of assessment based on that. Or if you come from the Congo, you can look at the, the mapping in terms of the policies in the DRC and sort of really think critically in terms of, okay, in terms of the future, why do I want to do agriculture? Why do I want to do, cybersecurity management or engineering? Moving on to Warwick. So Warwick University is in the city of Coventry. Coventry is basically just an hour away by train to London. It's only 20-25 minutes away to Birmingham. And it's basically located in the outskirts of Coventry. So Warwick University, again, is basically a campus university. And I'll talk a bit more about campus and city university throughout my presentation so that you can basically understand the difference between those two. Also, Warwick University and Coventry was basically was basically nominated as the 3rd best city to be a student in when it comes to England. So some of you may that may be important to you. You want to go to a student that is, to a city that is recognized for being best in terms of, student living in that particular city. In terms of nearby cities and we have obviously Coventry, where where our university is located. We also have Leamington Spa. It is believed the days back in back in the old days, this is where the Queen of basically United Kingdom used to go and have a bath. Whether that's true or not, again, it's for you to basically go and do your research and basically have a look. But again, Leamington Spa is basically home to many Warwick students. So some of our students will come to study with us, and they probably live in Leamington Spa or in Kenilworth, and then Warwick, Stratford upon Avon. For those who have the Shakespeare, basically that's where Shakespeare was basically born and raised, and then Birmingham is only 25 minutes away from us. So Birmingham International Airport is 20 minutes, and the city is basically 25 minutes away. So in terms of other proximity to other European cities, and of course, Paris is basically just an hour, 20 minutes by flight. London is an hour by train, as I said, and Madrid is 2 hours and a half. Throughout my studies, I've also studied in France. I used to study at the University of Nantes. I've also studied in Poland. So I'll be able, again, if you have any questions on my experience of studying in all of these destinations, I'll be able to share that. But currently I'm studying at Warwick, and I'm doing my master's in public policy. I've already highlighted that, Coventry is basically one of the best cities to be a student in. It was also recognized in 2019 as being the third cheapest city to be a student in. So in terms of affordability, some of you probably will want to use that as a metric to to basically decide where you want to go and study. Moving on to Warwick. So Warwick University was established in 1965, and back then we were only offering 18-degree. The campus only had 2 lecture theater, and the library basically had only 45,000 books. Now, Ishara will tell you, his experience of being at Warwick. It's very transformed. I'm sure you can see this aerial, moving a video of our campus. So it's very green. And this is one of the beauty of basically living in a campus university. So you basically in close proximity to every other department, to people, not only from your department, but also from other departments. My first degree, I did it at a campus, at a city university, and I was only able to engage with people that were from my department. And being at a city, at a campus university now, it's amazing. One day, I'm working in the library and I bump into a student who's basically doing medicine. Another time I've bumped into library, students who are doing cybersecurity engineering. And it's just amazing to be able to sort of forge a network and build connection. And as, somebody that's basically aspiring to return back to the continent in the future, it's great to know that I'm already I'm able to form my network by just being at Warwick University, because I know all the people that I'm meeting will be leaders in their own respective field as well. So I've already highlighted in terms of proximity to other cities and town. Also, in terms of our university, we have over 27,000 students, over 145 nationality. You may be wondering how many African nationality we have at present. So we have about 31 African nationalities. So some of you probably will want to meet students from Madagascar or from Morocco or Tunisia or Nigeria or Ghana. So we have all of those nationalities represented at Warwick. And we also do have students from the Congo, Ishara being one of them, and of course myself. In terms of what I want to sort of cover next is really in terms of when you go to university, making sure that you go global. And you can go global by really getting involved in various clubs in society. We have over 250 clubs in our society, and that could range from sport, rock climbing, golf. Recently, actually, I was in Kenya. I was in Mombasa. I was flying to Mombasa, and the gentleman that was sat next to me, we started talking about basically golf. And it was basically, for me, it was very inspiring to know that it was during my time when I joined Warwick University in 2016 that I decided to learn how to play golf. And then 6 years later, I'm sat next to a gentleman who was the chairman of the golf club in Nairobi and in Mombasa. And it was just really humbling to be able to see the connection, how sometimes, as Steve Jobs said, you can only connect the dot looking backward. So as you go, and study abroad, look at opportunity in terms of how you can get involved. So don't just go to university to do your degree, but also look at, clubs in society that you can become part of. At Warwick, we have like the Warwick Africa Summit, the Nigerian Society, the Warwick Afro-Caribbean Society. There's so many societies that you can get involved in, and I'll share a little bit more about those later. In terms of investment and in terms of the university, we are highly ranked consistently in the top 10 when it comes to university ranking in the UK, when it comes to league tables in the UK, as you can see from the slide here, and also consistently in the top 100 when it comes to European, but also world ranking. So currently in Europe, in terms of 2023 QS ranking, we are 18th in Europe. In the world, we basically, top 25, most international university, but also first in the world in terms of QS ranking. So again, if you're exploring going to top ranking university, then definitely do look at what Warwick University has to offer. And this again, the video that you saw of our campus, this just kind of give you, this is just a map to show you where each department is. So you can really see that everything is in close proximity to everything else. So I'm basically in the social science department, which is the politics department. I will just point. So I'm basically based here. When Ishara was at Warwick, I believe last year or 2 years ago now, basically he was in the WMG sport manufacturing group. My office is basically, when I'm basically working from campus, it's basically just around here, University House. So if you do decide to come to Warwick and you're successful in your application, please do come and say hi when you come to campus. But again, if you do apply to Warwick, we'll have more time to engage, and I'll be supporting your journey as you embark on your journey to come and study at Warwick. In terms of the university, another I've whet, sort of like whet your appetite, we have pretty much every courses that students from the Africa continent would want to study. So as you explore courses, look at basically the department, but also look at the course in detail, because sometimes courses may have different name in different institutions, and it's just a matter of you looking at the module that are being offered so that you can make an informed decision. When it comes to get ranking, and subject ranking, we're not only highly ranked as a university, but we are also highly ranked when it comes to subjects. So again, look at all of this if you're ranking centric, or if you are ranking focused. Look at all of this when it comes to you making a choice on what subject or what university you're choosing. Some of you again may have question in terms of entry requirements. I've sort of highlighted just in terms of IB, AP, in terms of the American system, A level, but we also do have a country page for each country. So if you want to know and you've done local system, like let's say the baccalaureate, diplôme d'état and then licence au Congo, you can basically look at our entry requirement on that front. And I'll be happy to share the link or you share that as I go through today's presentation. But in terms of sort of like entry requirement, because again, I'm fully aware that some of you have studied maybe in Uganda, in other African countries, South Africa. So typically in terms of GPA, most of our courses or percentage tend to be second class upper. And then in terms of GPA, you're looking at 3.0 to 349, or, and basically depending on the classification that you're coming with. But of course, if you have any question in terms of grading boundaries, you can email us at africa@warwick.ac.uk. Also, the other thing that I want to basically highlight here is basically in terms of personal statement. So as you apply for your Chevening, you also need to apply to university. So, and you need to make sure that you are positioning yourself in such a way that you make yourself competitive. And I say this with so much humility because myself, I come from the DRC, and our culture in the DRC sort of like you are taught from a very young age, or you're socially constructed from a very young age to be very humble, to not sort of like blow your own trumpet. But that could basically come at a disservice when you're positioning yourself for opportunity worldwide, because you're competing with students from all across the globe. So you need to make sure that you're literally interrogating yourself and articulating your why do you think why do you think this university should choose you? Because again, university will have students with similar grade, so you need to make sure that you are the one that they pick. And similarly, when it comes to Chevening, so you need to make sure that you're articulating why Chevening, what should Chevening, when they're assessing, why should they select you? Why should they call you for an interview? And when you do go for your interview, again, why should they nominate you for the award?